Way to go, Tic Tac!
That's how you punch.
Wakanda forever!
Nah, you wouldn't have heard of me.
Let me put you on hold.
Dance off, bro! He's a friend from work!
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
What up, guys? It's Dom, and welcome back to another TV show review. Today we are going over and ranking House Season 4. So I think what they chose to do with Season 4 wasn't done right. I feel like it was very rushed. The plot changes that they made definitely were made too hastily. I think if they didn't give the audience enough time to get used to this new change. Instead, they just dumped it all on them, and it made it seem a little messy. So let's go over other reasons why I don't think Season 4 did its job well with the 7 essential aspects of a TV show. The first essential aspect is plot. Now, I think this is the biggest mistake that Season 4 did, and it is the rushed plot. It felt very messy and just thrown together because they decided to make a big 360 turnaround from the end of Season 3. Now, I know why they did it. They definitely did it because they didn't want to make this show seem stale with just the same characters doing the same stuff every day. And I get that, but it was a formula that worked for 3 seasons. There wasn't too many changes. There was slight plot changes here and there, which they could have continued onto this season, but instead they completely threw everyone off. I don't think anyone went into Season 4 expecting this big change, at least this majorly, which caused headaches. I didn't enjoy the season as much as I could have just because of the inconsistency that it had to the rest of the show. Now, again, I'm gonna reiterate this. It's not a big problem. I understand why they did it. It didn't fit. The second essential aspect is attraction. Now, the attraction level is still just as good as the other seasons simply because it's a medical show. So if you enjoy the medical genre, you will enjoy this show regardless. I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the comedy. I still enjoyed the characters. It's just really that plot that is bothering me. The third essential aspect is dialogue. The dialogue was still good. I mean, it felt real. It felt consistent. It felt like the characters still had the chemistry that they had going from the previous seasons. So the dialogue isn't something I can really complain about. It was done well. The fourth essential aspect is acting. So there was a few actors that stood out to me this season. Everyone did a good job. Everyone did what they were supposed to do with the writing that they were given. But there were two actors in particular that I wanted to mention. One, as always, is Hugh Laurie. He is the star of the show. Without him, there really wouldn't be a House MD because he is Dr. House. But yeah, his acting throughout all these seasons has been consistent. He is clearly good with this character. He knows exactly how to portray him in a way to make him come to life. So I always want to give him credit. And another one is Robert Sean Leonard, who played Dr. Wilson. He had a much bigger role in this season than he had in the previous ones, probably because they knew they were going to have less screen time for some of the other actors, so they wanted to fill that gap with Dr. House's best friend, Dr. Wilson. Now, makes sense to me. He did good in the role. He knew how to portray that character as well, so both of them did really, really well. Everyone else still did decent. There wasn't any major flaws that I can pick out of acting. So overall, good acting in this season. The fifth essential aspect is cinematography. This is another thing that I feel like was a big letdown in this season, and it was the emotional side of things. I obviously still have a big connection with all these characters because I've watched them for 3 seasons now and I love the show. I got connected with them. So there is some emotional attachment there. However, not really anything changed. It's not like a big difference to me if something happens. There's nothing that had a big emotional impact that really changed me. The only thing was Dr. Cameron Foreman and Chase's situation that is the big finale of Season 3 that I'm not going to spoil, in the beginning of Season 4, which I'm also not going to spoil. That's really the big emotional impact that had with me, but anything else didn't really bother me. It didn't affect me in any way. So that is something that I feel like is because of the plot. They didn't have a thick enough plot to really engage me too much. And there was also one other point at the end that had an emotional attachment, but still it wasn't with a character that I really fully enveloped because they didn't have a good enough plot to help the audience get to that point. So yeah, overall, the cinematography, visuals, as I always say with this show, doesn't need anything crazy. Didn't do it because it didn't need it. But emotionally, yeah, it was a bit of a letdown this season. The sixth essential aspect is soundtrack. Like I've repeated for the 4th review in a row now, it doesn't have a memorable soundtrack. The intro is now grilled into my brain because I've listened to it so often. So that is, I guess, memorable to me at this point after 4 seasons. But it doesn't have a soundtrack that you'll really remember the show for being amazing music-wise. The 7th essential aspect is time. With how big of a letdown this season was, I really don't see it as a memorable season. I don't see how this season could stand the test of time. I think the only way it would be is because it involved new characters that will continue on for most likely the rest of the show. They just brought in more people, and that could be memorable as the introduction to those specific characters. But as the entirety of the show thus far, it is definitely the least memorable season. Now, onto the rating. Now, this season wasn't anything special. Honestly, it was the worst out of the bunch. I believe that it should be like 60s to 70s. It's still a watchable season. I still enjoyed the season through and through. It's just comparing it to the other ones, it is not the best. So I think 65 to a 70 would be a good rating for this season. So that's where I'm going to put it. And finally, the rankings. So individually, it's going to be 4th, below season 1. Now, as I kept saying, it is the worst season out of the bunch for many different reasons, but the main big points is season 1 has a way better plot because of the origin, the introduction to this entire show, but also season 4 just doesn't have a good one. It just doesn't have a good plot at all. I feel like the cinematography is a bit of a letdown. Even in season 1, which the plot didn't go crazy, it wasn't incredible. It did focus more on the episode per episode instead of one big plot throughout all of it. I just still think that season 4 just had the biggest letdown. It just didn't have me as emotionally connected to any of the characters. So it is clearly the bottom so far. And in all time, it's going to still remain first, even with how bad the season was, above Blue Mountain State season 1 through 3. I just personally think that even with this addition of a pretty disappointing season to the already 3 amazing seasons, isn't enough to counteract it and kind of move it down. I think it still belongs in the first spot overall. I still do think that the 3 seasons that Blue Mountain State has are good. It just doesn't have enough to compete with season 1 through 4 of House already. So it was a clear decision to me. It doesn't deserve to move. We'll see as the seasons go on. Maybe it will continue down this route and get worse and worse, and then the 3 first seasons won't really be enough to hold it above water, but we'll see when we get there. That's all I have for House Season 4. If you guys enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and make sure to comment what TV show or movie you want me to review next. If you enjoy this type of content, check out my best friend, Mr. Majoritarian. He does the same thing I do, besides he only does movies. He doesn't do the TV shows like I do. He also ranks them in 2 completely different lists, one in cinematography and one in entertainment. So if that's something that might be a little bit more your style, definitely check him out. His link will always be in my description. And I hope you guys have an amazing night. Peace out.